In 2011, someone paid close to $1.5 million for a dog. Not a house, not a business, a single Tibetan Mastiff puppy, not even a year old, with a thick reddish coat and a mane like a small lion. 3 years later, someone else paid almost $2 million more for another one. For a brief, strange window, this one breed from the Himalayan plateau became the most expensive animal you could buy anywhere on Earth, more valuable than a car, a boat, or in some cities, an entire apartment. This is the true story of how a working guardian dog ended up worth more than most homes, and what happened once the money disappeared. The dog's name was Big Splash. He was a red Tibetan Mastiff, 11 months old, already close to 200 pounds, with a calm, watchful temperament that show buyers prized as much as his looks. In March of 2011, a businessman from northern China reportedly paid around $1.5 million for him. And almost overnight, Big Splash became known as the most expensive dog ever sold, ahead of the average price of a home in most major cities in the world. Crowds at luxury pet fairs began treating Mastiff auctions the way art collectors treat a major sale, watching closely to see which dog would set the next record. The record didn't last long. In March of 2014, a golden-haired Tibetan Mastiff puppy reportedly sold for close to $2 million at a luxury pet fair in Zhejiang province, bought by a property developer who hoped to start breeding Mastiffs of his own. That same week, reports described a pair of Mastiff puppies from the same breeder selling together for a combined $3 million. Whatever the precise final numbers were, one thing was undeniable. For a moment, an ancient Himalayan guardian breed had become the most valuable dog on the planet. To understand how a guard dog ended up worth millions, you have to go back to what the Tibetan Mastiff actually was before any of this. For centuries, this breed worked alongside nomadic herders across the Tibetan plateau, guarding yaks and sheep from predators through some of the harshest winters on Earth. It was never bred to be decorative. It was bred to be useful, loyal, and tough enough to handle altitude and cold that would break most other dogs. Its thick mane and imposing size, so striking at a luxury pet fair, originally existed for a much simpler reason: protection at high altitude. But in the 2000s, as China's economy grew rapidly, and a new class of wealthy buyers looked for highly visible ways to display that wealth, the Tibetan Mastiff was reinvented as a luxury status symbol. In Chinese culture, the lion has long stood for power, protection, and prestige, so a dog that looked like a small lion carried built-in symbolism that made it an even more attractive status purchase. Breeders leaned into this, marketing the dogs around the idea of ancient, almost mythical bloodlines, and genuine rarity did the rest. A purebred Mastiff with the right size, coat, and build started to be treated the way a rare painting or a vintage car might be treated elsewhere, valued as much as an asset as an animal. So how does a living animal actually reach a price like that? Part of it was genuine scarcity. Purebred, show-quality Tibetan Mastiffs with the desired size and coat were legitimately rare, and rarity tends to push prices upward in any luxury market. Part of it was pure status signaling. Owning a dog that cost more than most people's homes was, for some buyers, exactly the point of buying one. The same impulse that drives demand for rare art or limited edition cars, and part of it, according to reporting from the time, may have involved breeders themselves inflating headline prices to raise their own profile in a booming market, since a record-breaking sale was free publicity for a breeding business. Economists who study speculative bubbles, from tulip prices centuries ago to rare collectibles today, describe a familiar pattern. Rising prices attract buyers who expect prices to keep rising, and for a while, that expectation becomes true simply because everyone believes it. If this kind of story, where Himalayan culture collides with global economics, is interesting to you, this channel covers a lot more of it, so it's worth subscribing if you haven't already. Whatever combination of forces was really driving it, By the early 2000s, the Tibetan Mastiff had become one of the most talked about status symbols in China. Markets built on hype rarely stay stable, and this one didn't either. Starting around 2013, a slowing Chinese economy combined with a nationwide anti-corruption campaign made the kind of flashy, attention-grabbing spending that had fueled the Mastiff boom far less appealing to wealthy buyers. That crackdown mattered here specifically because expensive gifts, including rare animals, had sometimes been used to build favor with officials, and tighter rules around lavish gift-giving removed one of the quieter forces that had helped push prices upward. Around the same time, several major Chinese cities introduced restrictions on owning large dog breeds within city limits, which shrank the pool of realistic buyers even further. Demand collapsed almost as quickly as it had risen. Breeding centers that had multiplied rapidly across Tibet and neighboring Qinghai province during the boom years began shutting down one after another. Within just a few years, the annual value of the Mastiff trade in one major breeding region reportedly fell by more than 3/4. A dog that might have sold for a small fortune at the peak of the boom could suddenly be bought for a few $100s, if a buyer could be found at all. The human side of a boom and bust story usually gets most of the attention, but there's an animal side to this one too. Many of the Mastiffs bred rapidly during the boom years were suddenly worth very little, and some breeders could no longer afford to keep or feed dogs that size. In the years that followed, conservation groups and local shelters on the Tibetan plateau began working to rehome Mastiffs left without owners and to care for those living on their own, while awareness campaigns pushed for more responsible breeding practices going forward. It's a sobering footnote to an otherwise flashy story, and a reminder that behind every headline about a dog selling for a fortune, there's a living animal whose well-being depends on far more than its price tag, long after the cameras and the auction paddles are gone. Big Splash and the other record-breaking Mastiffs made headlines because the numbers were almost impossible to believe. But underneath every one of those price tags is a much older story of a breed built for the mountains, briefly reshaped by a market that came and went, and now slowly returning to something closer to its original role as a working guardian rather than a trophy. If you want to see where this breed actually comes from and what it was originally built to do, the earlier video on this channel goes inside the Tibetan Mastiff's real role as a Himalayan guardian dog.